Hello, my brothers, and hello, my sisters, and my family members. This is your friend, your family member, Job Titus Cannon. And today, I am going to just cut through the chase and I'm going to talk about something that is essential, that is powerful in the life of believers. Today, I am going to talk about the power of prayer. Again, the power of prayer. One last time, the power of prayer. In the life of a believer, prayer is an essential element. When we talk about prayer and its definition, I simply define prayer as communication with God. Communication is essential in the relationship between individuals. Communication is very important in the relationship between a husband and a wife, a boyfriend and a girlfriend, best friends, children, siblings, co-workers, and every other person that is important in your life. In the marriage, lack of communication is one of the top 5 causes of divorce. In the same way, when we talk about prayer, this element, which is prayer, is essential in your relationship with God. As we see in this story that I'm about to talk about, we will discover the power of prayer and its importance in this story. Before I get into the story, I want you to understand this. If you don't believe that God is hearing you, or you don't believe that God will answer your prayer, maybe it's best that you don't pray at all. Again, I say to you, my brothers and sisters, that prayer is powerful. Today, I want to get into the scriptures. I want to get into Acts 12. Okay. And we're going to start at verse 2. We're going to probably go to maybe 14 or 16. But let me give you a little brief description about Acts. Acts is a book in the New Testament. It's referred to as the Acts of the Apostles. These are things that the apostles and the people that followed Christ did in the church, in the early church. These people did mighty things in the early church. And today we're going to talk about a very important disciple that followed Jesus, that was in Jesus' inner circle as well. We're going to talk about this person by the name of Peter. So in verse 1 of chapter 12, it talks about Herod Agrippa, who was the king of the Jews. And he arrested many members of the church. Herod was an evil king who had ties to Rome. And Herod was just as bad can be. So verse 2, we want to talk about these things. Verse 2 basically says, and he had, which was Herod, had James, the brother of John, put to death with a sword. And when he had saw that it pleased the Jews, he proceeded to have Peter arrested as well. Now, this was during the day of unleavened bread and the Passover week. So verse 2 and 3, we have a problem. This is Peter's problem. What was the problem? Peter was put in jail. He was getting ready to be put to death. Okay, because they had already killed one of his friends, which is James, the brother of John. So they was getting ready to kill Peter. This is what verse 4 says. When he had seized Peter, he put him in prison, turning him over to 4 squads of soldiers, of 4 each, to guard him in rotation throughout the night. So they was trying to make sure that Peter wasn't going anywhere. They was going to get Peter, and they was going to kill Peter just like they killed the other brother, planning after the Passover to bring him out before the people so he can get killed. Now this is verse 5. This is very essential as well. Verse 5 says this: so Peter was kept in prison, but fervent and persistent prayer for him was being made to God by the church. So this is the second P. We talked about Peter's problem. Now we're talking about prayers for Peter. Let me tell you something, my brothers and sisters. One of the most important thing, or the most significant thing that you can do for a person is pray for a person. Now, I didn't say pray on. I'm not talking about P-R-E-Y, but I'm talking about P-R-A-Y. Amen. Verse 6 says that the very night before Herod was to bring him forward, Peter was sleeping between two soldiers, bound with two chains, and sentries was in front of the door guarding the prison. So, hey, we had people all around Peter, had people in the front of Peter. Peter was bound. He had people just watching him. And this is another key. Verse 7, I want you to get this. Suddenly, an angel of the Lord appeared beside him, and a light shone in the cell. The angel struck Peter's side and awakened him, saying, "Get up quickly." And all of the chains fell off. This was a process of Peter's deliverance. We talked about Peter's problem, which led to prayer. And when you pray, God is working a process in your life. So he came, waking him, saying, get up, Peter. And the chains fell off. All of his chains fell off. Verse 8, and the angel said to him, "Prepare yourself and strap on your sandals to get ready for whatever may happen." And he did so. And the angel told him, "Put on your robe and follow me." That's what he told him. Put on your robe and follow me. This in verse 10. In verse 9, and Peter went out following the angel, and he did not realize what was being done by the angel was real, but thought he was seeing a vision. So we talked about Peter's problem. We talked about the prayers for Peter. We talked about the process in verse 7. In 8 and 9, we're talking about the preparation for deliverance. Because when you pray, there's a process going on. And there's a preparation for your deliverance, for the answering your prayer. Verse 10 says this: when they had passed the first guard and the second, they came to the iron gate that leads into the city. Of his own accord, you hear that? Nobody opened it. On his own accord, it swung open for them, and they went out along one street, and at once the angel left him. This is verse 11. When Peter came to his senses, he said, "Now I know for certain that the Lord has sent his angel and has rescued me from the hand of Herod and from all that the Jewish people were expecting to do to me." So verse 10 and 11 was the prize of deliverance. Now, I just want to recoup this. Verse 2 and 3 was Peter's problem. Verse 5 was prayers made for Peter. Okay. Verse 7 was the process that was happening after the prayer. Verse 8 and 9 was the preparation for the deliverance. And verse 10 and 11 was the prize. I'm here to tell you, my brother and sisters, that God is a mighty God. So when he realized what had happened, he went to the house of Mary, the mother of John, who was also called Mark. When they had many believers there was together, and they was praying continually all night. They was praying all night for Peter. And when Peter knocked on the door of the gateway, a servant girl named Rhoda came to answer. Now she had recognized Peter's voice. In her joy, she failed to open the door. She was just joyous. She just failed to open the door, but ran in and announced that Peter was standing in the doorway. Verse 15, they said to her, "You are out of your mind." But she kept insisting that it was so. They kept saying, "It is his angel." Verse 16, but meanwhile, Peter continued knocking, and when they had opened the door, they saw him, and they were completely amazed. My brothers and sisters, don't be surprised when God answers your prayer. If you don't expect God to answer your prayer, just stop praying, because God is a prayer answering God. Amen. Now, let me give you these 3 S's, and I'm going to get on out your way. These are 3 S's that can be produced as a result of prayer. 3 S's now, 3 of them. You ready? Number 1, struggles can lead to prayer. Because my brothers and sisters, when you're struggling, boy, the first thing you do is start praying. Amen. And this is verse 5. So Peter was kept in prison, but fervent and persistent prayer for him was being made by the church. Boy, it is a good thing when people are praying for you. Okay, struggles can lead to prayer. Number 2, the supernatural can keep you watchful as a result of prayer. Verse 10, when they had passed the first guard, an angel that came at the iron gate led him into the city, and of his own accord, the gate swung open, and he went out along the street, and once that angel saw that gate was open, the angel left. I'm here to tell you that angels are watching over you as a result of people praying for you. I just want you to know the supernatural can keep you watchful as a result of prayer. And number 3, surprises can keep you thankful in prayer. Verse 16 says, but meanwhile, Peter continued knocking, and as he opened the door, they saw him and they were completely amazed, surprised. Why were the brothers and sisters surprised? Because my brothers and sisters, don't be surprised when God answers your prayer. I'm here to tell you that we serve a mighty God that can do anything but fail. When you are praying, expect God to move. This is the power of prayer. Okay, expect God to move. Lastly, my brothers and sisters, before I get out your way, when you're going through the trials and tribulations in life, remember to push. PUSH. Pray until something happens. Why? Because there's power in prayer. God bless you, my brothers and sisters. Be blessed and understand that there's power in prayer. Keep praying, my brothers and sisters.